What's up, guys? This is Chris here, and today we're talking about shotguns. We're going to go over what I think are the 5 best tactical shotguns ever made.
Get out of my house, butt muncher!
Now, the definition of tactical shotguns is sort of vague, so I'm going to give you my perspective and my opinion on what that definition is. I'm not going off any military definition or any law enforcement definition. I'm just basically talking about shotguns that you would want to take to a gunfight. Now, I'm not saying you would want to go to a gunfight, but if one's coming your way, maybe these are the guns you would want to have to greet one. So for lack of a better term, gunfighting shotguns. They're all going to be reliable, they're going to be fast, they're going to be accurate, and they're going to be good at doing the job they were meant to. Out of all the shotguns that we've tested on the channel, these are my 5 personal favorite for getting the job done. Now, shotguns have a lot of pros and cons, don't get me wrong, but in close quarters, they are extremely effective. And for what they need to do, they are still more than capable enough. They're incredibly powerful, and these days, extremely reliable. So they're certainly a good option for home defense, self-defense, or anything tactical. And if you don't believe me, shotguns are still used in law enforcement and military roles to this day. And matter of fact, almost every gun on this list is in one way or another. With that being said, let's get right into it with number 5 here, the new kid on the block. We're going to be talking about the Mossberg 940 Pro LE. Now, this gun is designed specifically for tactical use. This is Mossberg's newest addition to their tactical lineup. The 940 is a very reliable, durable, and robust semi-automatic shotgun. It holds a 7+1 capacity. It has an optics mounting system if you take off the rear ghost ring, and it has an opportunity to put a rail on it. So if you want to put an EOTech or something on it, you can do that. But no tactical shotgun is complete without M-lock slots, or at least some kind of way to mount a light. You could mount a light to either side of this handguard or the bottom, or even to the barrel clamp. Now, unlike the Italian shotguns, or at least some of them, the gun comes with a 7+1 capacity out of the factory because it's made in America, baby. So I appreciate that. The forend is amazing. It looks mean, and on top of that, it has QD mounts. It has a tank safety, so if you're right or left-handed, it's no issue. It has a large charging handle, so you can use that whether it's dark or whether you're only operating the gun one-handed, which is very nice. The bolt release is large enough to work very quickly, but not so big where you're going to hit it by accident, which could be a problem. The lift gate is really nice and easy to use, and it's flat on the end, which I like a lot, so it doesn't bite your thumbs. And then the loading port is beveled, so you can reload it quicker if you need to. More than enough space on the side of the receiver to put a shell holder if you want. I actually prefer the Velcro variants because they seem to be more reliable and durable overall. Even though they don't look as cool as something like the Mesa Tacticals, in my experience, they're cheaper and they actually work better. Now, the 940 is really only at number 5 because it's probably the least proven gun on this list. The 940 is a new platform over the past few years. However, Mossberg is not a new company in the tactical shotgun industry. As a matter of fact, they've made their name making those exact things. It's a pretty good to go gun, and in my personal testing, it's been absolutely excellent from 8-shot all the way to double-aught buck with no issues. In at number 4, we have the Genesis 12. Now, this guy right here is the Genesis 12 3-gun. However, every Genesis is pretty much at number 4. I have several variants, but this one personally is my favorite. The Genesis 12 has made a huge splash over the last few years and has become one of the most trusted names in the tactical shotgun industry. They make a ton of different variants from this 18-inch here all the way down to a 5-inch suppressed model. The guns are the most reliable, durable, and tested magazine-fed 12 gauges on the market today. They really have more in common with an AR-10 and 12 gauge than they do an actual shotgun. They have AR controls, they take AR accessories, and they shoot an awful lot like an AR-15, which is really great, especially if your department or maybe your military personnel already train on that. But it's even better for civilians because about half the civilians in the United States have an AR, and everybody seems to pretty much agree that the control setup is the best, so why not have their 12 gauge work the same way? Now, the Genesis has a new operating system in it by comparison to some of the other shotguns that you might know, like maybe the Sega series. Those guns have been notoriously unreliable, whereas the Genesis really stepped it up a notch and focused really on reliability first and ergonomics second. And the reliability on these guns is top notch for, again, a magazine-fed semi-auto, which traditionally before the Genesis was unreliable. Unbelievably fast, unbelievably accurate, and unbelievably shootable. This is one of, if not the best 12 gauge in the world today. No joke about that.
This could be my favorite gun of all time.
This model we have here is the Terran Tactical 3-gun model, which is a $6,000 shotgun. This guy takes 5-round all the way up to 20-round box magazines, has an 18-inch barrel threaded, so if you want to put a suppressor on there, which they make them, you can actually do that. They have a brake on here, which reduces the recoil to almost nothing. You can shoot these super fast. I mean, literally, check out my wife, she's 5'2". M-lock rail all the way down. Then we have a Picatinny rail on top for optics. We have a dual-sided charging handle. We have ambi controls, and I've actually switched it out for a Radian because, like I mentioned, this gun actually takes AR controls. Got a hoe grip and then a really nice recoil pad on the stock. Now, the reason why this gun's only at number 4 and not at number 1 is, number 1, it's by far the most expensive gun on the list, and also by far the newest operating system. Unlike the Mossberg, which is a new model using a similar operating system, the Genesis 12 is a whole new ball game, so much so that a lot of people wouldn't even consider it a shotgun. So even though it's at number 4, someday I can almost certainly guarantee you that this will be the best shotgun in the world. Now, in at number 3, it's kind of a controversial pick because I was trying to decide on whether I should choose the Beretta A300 Patrol or whether I should choose the Beretta 1301 Tactical. And the answer I came up with was both of them. Now, the reason why I went with both is because they are very, very similar, just at 2 different price points, and I couldn't choose, so I just put them both on the list. The Beretta A300 has a different operating system than the 1301, but to the shooter, they are very, very similar. The differences are going to be very minimal. They look the same. They almost take the exact same accessories. They feel the same. They're from the same company, and they do the same job. Now, the A300 Patrol is going to be a lot more affordable at coming in under $1,000, but isn't going to have quite the super speedy operating system of the blink system of the 1301. That being said, in actual shooting and operation, I have felt almost no difference whatsoever. Now, I've seen some shotgun experts that say there's a pretty big difference, but I personally haven't felt that over several hundred rounds through each one. Now, the A300 has a really good forend. It has an awesome set of sights, comes with a pick rail, comes in cool colors, and the A300 actually comes with a 7+1 capacity out of the factory, where some of the 1301s have a 5-round capacity out of the box, like the Benelli M4, because they come from Italy. So since the A300 is generally made in the United States, you can generally get a better product out of the factory. And on top of that, the A300 does come in some pretty sick colors. Now, the 1301 is a slightly more expensive variation of a gas-operated semi-automatic shotgun, again using the blink system. Now, that shotgun actually doesn't have any operating mechanism in the stock, so you can actually use different stocks on that than the A300, which is nice. It operates at a little bit quicker speed, which is also nice, and arguably has slightly less recoil, although I honestly can't tell the difference. Is that going to be enough difference for you guys to upgrade and pay $400 or $500 more? Well, that's entirely up to you, but they're so similar to me that I put them both at number 3. Now, at Honest Outlaw, we covet reliability and track record above almost everything else. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a gun that's super shootable. I love a gun that's extremely quick, but if it doesn't work every shot, I generally do not use it for home defense, so I don't recommend it for home defense. And for tactical use, if you want something dirty, stupid, reliable, I introduce you to the Mossberg 590. Now, the Mossberg 590 is arguably the most reliable shotgun in history. It is extremely reliable. It is a pump gun which, with lower powered ammo, can be more reliable than a semi-automatic. However, with new shooters, a pump gun can be less reliable because they may short stroke the pump or mess up the operating mechanism. Just because something's manually operated doesn't mean it's more reliable. It just means it's up to the user whether it's more reliable or not. So if you're an expert, it's more reliable. If you're an idiot, it's not. Now, the 590 is the premium variant of the Mossberg 500, literally designed for tactical use. We have a heat shield up top. We have a very heavy barrel. That way it doesn't dent. We have a HD front sight. We have a 7+1 round capacity. We have a retro style wood pump here, but you can get any different flavor of accessories and furniture that you want on this. I went with the retrograde edition because it looks fucking awesome. We have a very large ghost ring aperture on the back, but you can replace that with a rail if you want to. Again, super awesome tang safety, right or left-handed. You can operate it the same. We have a pretty good trigger. We have no loading gate on the bottom, so you can operate it any way you like. We also have a pretty good wood stock and a pretty decent recoil pad. Now, the 590 isn't quite as fast as the A300 or the 1301, and it's definitely not the Genesis 12. That being said, it's going to accept ammunition that is going to be in a wider variety than any of the shotguns shotguns on this list. If you want to use less lethal, these guns can run that reliably. If you want to shoot flares, if you want to shoot snake shot, if you want to shoot 8-shot with 1100 feet per second, if you want to shoot mini shells through this, you can do that. Any 12 gauge that they make under 3.5-inch magnums, the 590 will run with no issues, which is why a lot of people choose it and why law enforcement and military personnel still pick it up to this day. It's going to run reliably with breacher ammo. It's going to be able to shoot dragon's breath. If you're John Wick, you can literally do whatever you want with the 590. And if you have solid defensive ammunition in it, it is literally never going to malfunction if you don't malfunction. So for home defense, for civil unrest, or for law enforcement or military use, the 590, even though it's an old design, still has a solid capacity, incredible power, and stupid reliability. Overall, one of the best tactical shotguns in the world. Now, the reason why I put this at number 2 instead of something like the Remington 870, even though maybe the Remington 870 has a slightly smoother action, is because I've had over half a dozen Remington 870s in my life, and almost all of them had problems one way or another. So even though a lot of people tout the 870, I personally have not seen the performance that stacks up to its legend. Now, we're not going to do any honorable mentions for this video. Let's get right into it with number 1, and my personal bias is probably going to show a little bit here. My wife certainly thinks so because she's a Beretta girl. However, I am a Benelli man. And at number 1, we have the most proven semi-automatic shotgun in military history, and that's going to be the Benelli M4. The Marines' favorite shotgun, John Wick's favorite shotgun, and my favorite shotgun. The Benelli M4 uses the Argo system. It is the most reliable self-cleaning system that's ever been invented for the semi-automatic shotgun, and that's the reason why the Marines use it. You need almost no upkeep for these things, and they keep going round after round after round. You can pump 5 or 10,000 rounds through of double-aught buck to this shotgun, and it is still going to function well. Mine is a Terran Tactical Edition, so it's going to have some upgrades. Sorry in advance. Not sorry. This is the actual shotgun that John Wick used in John Wick 2, so I'm pretty happy about that. I love this gun, and I shoot it any chance I get. Now, the Benelli M4 isn't just reliable. It's ergonomic, and it's extremely quick. One of the softest recoil impulses of any shotgun that you'll ever fire, except for maybe the Genesis. The Genesis is probably the only gun that shoots a little softer than this, but other than that, the Benelli is legendary for its shootability. We, again, have a 7+1 of 12 gauge, which is awesome. We have a front tritium post with a rear ghost ring. We also have an optics rail, which I have an EOTech mounted on it. Different forends are available. The stock Gen 1 doesn't have an ability to mount a light out of the factory, although that's pretty common for guns that are designed in the early 2000s. That being said, the Gen 2 has a mounting system, which I don't love, so I'd recommend going after something like Midwest Industries. Now, the stocks are a little bit longer length of pull than your traditional Beretta, which is one of the reasons why my wife doesn't like the Benelli. However, I do, so I'm a big boy. They make pistol grip stocks, they make standard stocks, they make any stock that you want. Also, there again are custom variations of these guns, like the Terran Tactical, that have a super slicked up light and bolt carrier, but you don't really need any of that. The standard Benelli M4 is phenomenal. If you want the king of tactical shotguns, I think that is still the Benelli M4. It's a little bit heavier than the 1301 and a little bit older, but it's also more proven and it shoots a little softer, so I personally like it. Now, the thing I like the most about the Benelli M4 is I think it looks the best of any tactical shotgun. I know that's pretty subjective, but I'm a 90s kid after all, and I grew up watching movies with these guns in it, and I grew up playing video games, smoking fools and Call of Duty and stuff like that, and I just absolutely am in love with the Benelli M4. Let me know in the comment section if you think I had the right list, and if you don't, put your list in the comment section below. I'd love to critique it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.
Tactical turtle! Get out of my house, nutsack.
I gotta come up with something different.
Okay.
What's an equally funny thing than nutsack? Butt muncher?
Yep, let's go with that.
Is that funny? I don't know if it is.